Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Bitch and Brainstorm podcast. I'm here with Jessica Martin, who's going to be one of our panelists for the Elevate Your Customer Experience Summit happening on July 12th, 2023. Jessica, would you like to give everybody a little taste test of who you are? Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Sure. So I'm Jessica Martin. I live in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and I am a healthcare consultant. So I help healthcare businesses, especially private practices, really do the patient experience better. So when I heard about Elaine's summit, I was like, this is perfect because I love to share. What works in healthcare, I think, can work in any industry. Customer service is customer service to an extent. And so it's super fun to be able to wow people and really capture wonderful experiences for people so that the business can flourish as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've kind of read a little bit about you is that you love helping people have a better experience when they go to the dentist. Can you talk about that? Because I know for some people, there's a lot of fear going to the dentist. It's trauma, it's whatever. So can you talk a little bit about how you are helping other healthcare professionals have better customer experiences for when there is that kind of fear or trauma around medical care?
Yeah, no. So how that happened was totally organically. I happened to fall in love with a dental school student and marry him. And so he's been practicing dentistry for 16 years, and I've helped him run the business and grow the business. And through that, that's how I had that kind of in healthcare, I guess. I'm a school psychologist by trade. So my training is all about understanding human behavior and development and, understanding anxiety and other kind of mental health issues. And so as I started working in the dental office and helping, grow our business, I realized how what I knew could really lend into dentistry because so many people are anxious. And so what I teach dental teams to do is really to calm the sensory system, to calm the body down. Typical dentistry puts off bells and whistles in our body that's saying, this is not fun. It's like, the noises, the smells, seeing instruments, like there's all these little details that dentists don't really think about that I help them either eliminate if possible or replace with positive sensory so that the body can go, oh, okay, this is a good thing. I'm calm and relaxed, and then they can receive that care. And so it doesn't necessarily always relate into other forms of healthcare. It really depends on the industry, but for any situation where a patient would come in anxious, there's just so many little details and so many interactions that the team has with the patient along that journey that aren't addressed or that people don't think about that could be really raising anxiety levels. So it's really going through each part of that experience, not just when the patient's receiving the treatment, but as they book that appointment, as they walk in, like what does all of that look and feel like? And it can make a huge difference. So I think of other industries like gynecology or like going in for a colonoscopy or just other places where, they're saying, relax, it's fine. But your body's saying, no, this isn't fine. So let's find ways that work in that environment to little simple things that we can do to really make it better.
Yeah. It's so funny that you mentioned colonoscopy because I've had a bad experience, right?
Mhm.
But then like when I had to go back for a second one and I was like, I don't want to. I don't want
Right.
to. And
Right.
finally my doctor was like, please, you have to go. And I was like, fine. So when I went back for my little consultation, I told them about my previous experience just as like a reminder. And
Mhm.
they were like, they're like, okay, first of all, that doctor that you talked to before is no longer here. Okay, who, right? Like that helped. And then they were just like, we're going to take extra care to make sure that you are okay because I was not okay
Yeah.
after the first one. And so I think it was I didn't want to say anything because you don't want to be that person, but this is your health.
Right. Well, and I think it's awesome that you were an advocate for yourself. Unfortunately, not everyone is that bold. I mean, bold isn't even the right word for it
Yeah.
because that's just like, like you should
Mhm.
be able to say something. But I think that's where healthcare providers can take a step back and poll
Yeah.
patients about how they feel about what they're coming in for, because then you're inviting people to say,
Yeah.
here's how I'm feeling about this. Here's what I've experienced in the past, so that they can cater to that. And some people are going to be fine, and that's okay. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to change for everybody. But for someone like you that just went through a bad experience, like it's great for them to know what happened, what
Mhm.
didn't work for you, and
Mhm.
what they can do differently that next time. So that's just like a conversation, right? That's not
Yeah.
even adding, like we add in spa amenities and really
Mhm.
calming, luxurious kind of things that feel really pampering but calm the body. That's
Mhm.
just like asking the right questions.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And the unfortunate thing with healthcare is that people are compromising their health by
Mhm.
avoiding things because
Right.
they're anxious. And that's
Right.
like, that could be deadly. So
Exactly. That's why my doctor was like, "Please, please, please go." And I was like, "I don't want to." But
yeah.
I did sucked it up because I knew that it was, that it could be a life-saving measure. But it begs the point, like, how do we advocate for ourselves without being that person, right? You hear the word Karen and you're like, "I don't want to be a Karen," but how do I advocate for myself without getting into that place? And so do you have any tips on, as a provider, things that they could do to put someone at ease for sharing their concerns? Um, I mean, it's a heated topic, it can feel like anyways, and I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, absolutely. And nobody should be made to feel to be that person, I mean, um, if they're able to develop like an intake form, or even just a set of questions that whoever's checking the person in can ask, or whatever kind of works in the environment, I think that's huge to just ask, what have past experiences been
Mhm.
like? How does the person feel about being there that day, right? Because they
Yeah.
ask all these other questions about
Mhm.
your body and your health and all these invasive things, but nobody asks, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And just to have somebody understand that you are feeling a little anxious, or you did
Mhm.
have a bad experience as a child or whatever, that can just take all of those nerves down, because you're like, okay, they know this, they're going to take, and then knowing, once they've pulled those things from the patient and opened up that dialogue, then knowing how to respond, right? Knowing
Mhm.
how to reflect and really make that person feel understood, and then cater to that fear or whatever it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so it's always a little bit different. Like that's what it's hard to say, like, oh, this is like the magic bullet. But
Yeah, there
that's
isn't.
why whenever I work with clients, I actually go and observe what they're doing currently to see, okay, how could we easily sneak something in that's not going to affect their current flow or take a
Yeah.
ton of time
Mhm.
to really make the patient feel much better.
Yeah. Yeah. What in your mind is like the ideal customer experience for medical health professionals?
I mean, I think the ideal patient experience is one where the patient from start to finish feels understood, feels that they had the time they needed to ask the questions they had to communicate with the provider, that their body felt calm and relaxed as much as possible, right? That's not always like we can't be like zenned out all the time with what we're doing. But to feel like, their body and their mental health was cared for with integrity and with benevolence, like do no harm, and to walk out of that experience knowing like, wow, that team really cared about me, and my body felt pretty good, and I am okay to go back if I need subsequent treatment. Like I think that's like, if I had to put it in a
Yeah.
nutshell, I think that's it.
Yeah. How as service providers can they communicate that they are providing this kind of um experience with care, right? That they're taking extra care. Are there keywords or anything like that that they should be using to attract people that
Mhm.
may need that extra attention and care?
Yeah, I mean, for like dentistry, for example, I love the word spa because like we can do that. We can make it a dental spa, and I've figured that out. So I like that word because that's a really positive thing that people pay money to go to just a spa, right? So why
Yeah.
not like add it to, so that can work with certain industries where it makes sense to be able to provide some extra little amenities to be a spa provider. Otherwise, using words like comfort, using words like, a relaxing environment, I think it's really about your branding. And I usually don't even tell custom clients of mine to change like the name of their business or anything,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily need to change. It just needs to be how you represent yourself and your
Yeah.
marketing, in your community, like how you talk about your business, how you represent your business, what it looks and feels like. So all those things are little indicators to communicate to that patient that they're in a different place that's going to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I absolutely love having this conversation with you because I think I'm really, really excited the fact that we have so many different industries coming to be panelists on this summit so that everybody who's watching can find a person and say, oh my gosh, like that, I'm in that space too. And how can I learn from you? And how can I make improvements to my business based on like you are doing it, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of like put yourself into like a mentor category. So I love that we're having multiple industries coming together to share about customer experience, because if we don't have customers, we don't have a business.
Exactly. I think it's the best way to learn, because I do a lot of speaking on this topic as well. And when I do research, when I've done research for this, I've pulled things from, like the hotel industry and other industries where they're nailing that, it's not a scary place for people to go, but they're still wowing people. And how are they doing that? Like, what are the subtleties in the team training that are making people leave and go, wow, that was incredible. I will always book here if I can. Let's use those things that are working in other industries to make ours better, right? That's kind of what it's about. Let's not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's not reinvent the wheel. And there's so many parallels too, like being able to feed, and like you said, looking at what other people are doing and how can I borrow that idea and maybe implement it. And I might need to tweak it a little bit, but the concept is still the same.
Exactly.
And
treating people with integrity and kindness and care, like it's kind of universal, right? Like hopefully, and then it's just about tweaking it for your environment and your your flow of what your experience is like in your business.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited to have you as a part of our summit. Thank you so much for coming to chat with us a little bit today. Be sure to tune in on July 12th in order to come and connect with Jessica and learn more about how you can provide an amazing customer experience, especially if you're in the healthcare industry. All right. See you guys later.